Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me.
You are now tuned into the Boxing Voice Radio. Join us every Thursday and Sunday, live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. I am your host, Nestor Gibbs, where we bring you on Wednesdays, Prospect Wednesday, and we will be having today the young Josue Vargas. Josue, I guess, is most known for his beef with Mayweather and Gervonta Davis. Unfortunately, that's why people say that all publicity is good publicity, because that's how I know him. I watched his first fight under Top Rank about a week ago. And, I was impressed with his boxing skill, but I still have to be made aware of who the young Josue or I don't know. We're going to have to ask him how you pronounce his name, but, we don't know where to assess him, but that's cool because that's what Prospect Wednesdays is all about, where together we'll get to know about all these up-and-coming fighters and see if we can't get into their stories. From the little bit of research that I've done, Ron, he's got beef or had beef with Gervonta because Gervonta released partial sparring video that only showed Gervonta getting the, better half, where he later released his half, showing that he did quite well. He's got beef with Mayweather because he was under the banner and he called him for maybe 7 or 8 months straight, got no answer, and he felt he had to move on. Again, this is how he jumped on my radar. You're on the other side of the world. So, Ron, how are you? First and foremost, we didn't see you this morning on the morning show, obviously, with your day job, but how are you? And what do you know of Mr. Vargas?
From my understanding, I believe he actually got to spar Mayweather during the Conor McGregor camp. He did like 8 rounds. 8-round kind of sparring sessions. And he was this really good, prospect known as the Prodigy, from New York. I believe he had like junior Olympic background. So from my understanding, that's when I first kind of figured out who he was around the whole Conor McGregor side, when they were making that fight.
And Mr. Gross, how are you? Good of you to join us today. What do you know of the young Mr. Vargas?
I know he is, I think he signed with TMT, right?
He was
signed with TMT. Yeah, that's pretty much where I lost track of him because I do remember seeing him on Dante's Boxing Nation once or twice. So I'm familiar with him, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie like I'm like in depth and very in depth on him. Hopefully, you guys can fill me in a little bit. Like, how was his amateur background? When did he turn pro? And who is it with now since he left TMT?
Funny thing is, we don't know much, but that's what this series is going to be about. Young prospects, getting to know them, putting them on the map, learning about them together. I'm going to go ahead and dip in the back, get him on this call, and start this thing up.
What's going on, Ron G, man? What's going on with you, man?
What's going on?
Did you by chance hear the show this morning?
I got a little taste of some of the action, but I was asleep, man.
Oh yeah, you like you got one eye open right now. What up and coming prospects are you on the lookout for that we don't already know about? Like, give me somebody that I wouldn't necessarily know.
Well, considering the fact that you don't know much right now outside of Josue Vargas, he was actually one of the guys I actually had a lot of interest in, just because he was signed with TMT and had this aura around him, being around with Tank, getting anyone who gets to spar with Mayweather. And then you kind of had to look and search for his fights. And so at that point, the fights I did see of him, he got these fancy knockouts and stuff. So we'll go talk a little bit more about him.
He got some, so he has KO power.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to my co-host. I would like to introduce you to the young, what I believe is pronounced Josue Vargas. Correct, he says. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Josue, look, we don't know much. Unfortunately, everyone will tell you good news, bad news. It's all the same thing. All news is good publicity. So what we do know is that there was a fallout with Mayweather. There used to be some sort of back and forth with Gervonta. You have some sparring footage. He does. We want to know, obviously, that story and everything else. Like, where do you come from? I see that you're obviously Latino. I read that you're from the Bronx. So if you could just bring us into the life of Josue Vargas, because what Wednesdays is for TBV is Prospect Wednesdays, and we like to, introduce ourselves and our audience to a new up-and-coming fighter. And I guess I know it's a lot of questions in ones, but I guess you can tell us, what do you think the difference between a prospect and a contender is? Because we don't want to offend anyone either.
Right. I would like to say I'm Josue Vargas, the prodigy. I got 13 fights in, 1 disqualification, 12 victories, 8 by knockouts. And I would like to say I will be fighting again in Madison Square Garden, MSG, in March, in St. Patrick's Day, which that's a good look because that's back to back, So they Top Rank, my new promotion, is already loving me. And they like what they see. I'm a young kid. I'm only 20 years old. I'm still growing. I'm still getting better. I'm just still getting stronger, And I came from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. I was born in Puerto Rico. I was raised in New York. And I speak Spanish and English,
So what part of the Bronx you from?
I'm from Morris Park in the Bronx.
And what gym do you train out of, man? Because I frequent so many. I've, go to Gleason's, formerly known as Atlas Cops and Kids. I used to go there.
I started boxing next to where I live, around my neighborhood. It's called Morris Park Boxing Gym. That's where I started out.
So you're going to be the first world champion out of that gym?
For 11 years. Lou Duval became world champion. He fought Roy Jones.
Okay, yeah, Lou Duval, the trainer of
Virgil Hill.
Isn't that the same trainer of Badu Jack?
Exactly, yes. Correct.
Nice. So we hear that you signed with Top Rank, right?
He came out of. Excuse me?
I said you're obviously now with Top Rank, right?
Yes, correct.
We just had Jamel Herring on, 130-pounder. Very excited to be with Top Rank.
Yeah, I know Jamel Herring.
Yeah, he's very excited to be with Top Rank. He's very happy to have a career path laid out for him. Just can you tell us your experiences now that you've been with multiple promoters and being with Top Rank? Like, is this a breath of fresh air? And if so, how so?
I just recently signed with Top Rank about 2 months ago, and I already got 1 fight in with them. And so far, I like what I'm seeing. The pressure's good, the check is good, and where they putting me to fight at in the mecca of boxing in Madison Square Garden is something that that's something where I always wanted to fight at, and I see they trying to keep me active, of course, because I'm already back in action at the same place in March, like I said before, and that's one thing that Mayweather promotion wasn't doing with me, They wasn't keeping me active as I should be, and I feel like I deserve the publicity to be promoted the right way, and that's something they didn't do, They didn't do the right thing. So I move on forward with my career, and I did what I had to do, and that's what I did, get out the contract.
Now, I'm joined alongside my 2 co-hosts, Ron Goodall and Michael Gross. Before I pass you to them, can you just tell us how you linked up with Mayweather? How was it that you ended up with him instead of Top Rank in the beginning when Top Rank does so well with young prospects? We see what they're doing with Teofimo Lopez. We see how they're rebuilding Jamel Herring. We see what they're doing with Shakur Stevens and what they've done with Lomachenko. I mean, the proof is in the pudding with Top Rank.
Yeah, I always wanted to sign with. I want to sign with Golden Boy or either Mayweather Promotion or Top Rank. And I got the opportunity to sign with Top Rank when I was with Mayweather Promotion at 17, and it's because I had a sort of connection around there, I knew somebody that worked for Mayweather, which was Jessica. She worked for Mayweather, and I have I know her, so I have that connection with her, but I had to show my skills in front of Floyd. So it was just not that he was just gonna sign me because I know somebody that works for him. It doesn't work like that. You gotta show your skill. You gotta show that you belong there. You gotta show that you have the talent and you're a hardworking young man. And that's something that I did when I went to Mayweather Boxing Gym. As soon as I landed in Vegas, they put me to spar one of the best guys, and it was Gervonta Davis, Tank. And we was in the doghouse. We was banging it out. And Floyd loved what he saw, and that's when we was talking business. After that, he didn't want me to leave Vegas. He wanted me to stay there and live there, and a whole lot, man.
How many pounds did Gervonta have on you for that first sparring session?
I mean, he walk around like 150, but he fights at 130. So he was about 150 to 155, and I was about 147. Not much of a difference, because I fight at 140, but I walk around also 150, 155. So I was just younger. I was much younger. He was more experienced. He was already a pro. He was 14-0, and I was only an amateur. I was not pro yet, and I was 17 at that. So, he had a lot of experience on me, and I feel like I gave him one of the best work there because every time he sparred somebody else, he killed the guys. He dropped them, knock them out, and spawned them with head get on. And that's something that he couldn't do to me. So that's something that Floyd saw in his eyes, He saw something special in me. So that's when he wanted to sign me. But when he signed me, it's not like he was keeping me busy. It was not like I was having fights back to back, and that's something that I should be having, I should be staying active and getting my name out there.
How's it going, Josue? My name is Michael Gross. I got a couple of questions for you. First question is, you're signed with Top Rank now. How fast do you want to move to a world title, or are you still just trying to get your bearings and make a name for yourself in the division?
Right, I'm still trying to make a name for myself and still trying to gain more fans as much as I can. So when I get to the world title, I will have a lot of supporters. I have a lot of supporters now, but I want even more supporters when I fight for that world title. A lot of people is cheering for me, rooting for me, and everybody want me to win that world title. And that's gonna take time. I'm only 20 years old. I feel like I could get a world title 2 years from now. 22, 23. I'm not rushing it. I'm just taking my time. I'm Top Rank. I don't know what they're gonna do with me. I don't know what they have in store for me this year, but I know I'm promised to have 4 fights, which that will be 17 fights already. So it's getting there. It's getting closer and closer.
Would you ever consider getting in a World Boxing Super Series, sort of like the one that's going on right now for the 140 pound division? Maybe not this year, but let's say if they have another one in 2020.
That would be fun. I would enjoy that. I would join that. It just depends on the promoter on Top Rank, Bob Ammer. It just depends on them and my manager, Whatever they want to do, I do,
And my last question: who do you see winning this WBSS tournament? And are you, I mean, not eyeing them, but are you keeping a eye on it?
To be honest, I'm not. I didn't even know that was going on. I don't even know who's on it.
Hey, Josue, this is Ron over here. I had a couple questions myself to also ask. You've been in the sparring sessions with Gervonta. You've also been in sparring sessions with Mayweather himself, right? And in preparation for Conor McGregor.
Yes, correct.
How did that experience go, and how did that come about?
Sparring with Gervonta Davis, I learned a lot. He was strong. He was physically strong, and he had he got a lot of skills. He's a great fighter. I don't take nothing away from Tank. And sparring with Floyd, it was like one of the best sparrings ever. It was unbelievable. I just couldn't believe I was in there with Floyd. My own promoter. And one time I sparred him at 4 or 5 in the morning after he came out of the club. And when I was sparring him, I was getting on his ass. Like I was, I was doing my thing. And out of nowhere, he started getting mad. He started telling me start running. Who's running? It's not called running. It's called boxing, just like you box. They gave it to him, and I get his. So he got mad at me. He started calling me names. He started saying the F word, the B word, and it just got out of hand. And from there,
But Josue, that's part of the mind games, right? Now in boxing, man, you're gonna get that a lot, brother.
Yeah, of course. Part of, yeah, of course, yeah. He was just trying to take me out the game plan, He was trying to just mess with my head. That's what he was trying to do, just get in my head. I was 18 years old. That's a full grown man. Yes.
I was gonna say also, like, coming up, did you get to spar with other people that outside of Mayweather, Gervonta Tank Davis at at an incredible young age like yourself?
Yes, I had sparred a lot of people. I had sparred Luis Collazo. He fought Keith Thurman. He fought Andrew Berto. He fought a lot of people. Y'all know who Luis Collazo is, right?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Brooklyn.
Of course. He was supposed to get that shot with Terrence Crawford.
Right, yeah. I had fought Shakur Stevenson in the amateurs.
How was that experience?
Ron Ennis.
Who won these?
Great, man. We was both young. I beat Shakur one time, the first fight in the June Olympic Regionals. It was in upstate, and he beat me the second time in New Jersey in his hometown. So you know how that goes.
What about Jerron?
Yo, so you saying if it wasn't his hometown, you'd have got the win?
I mean, you know what it is. You heard what he said.
Cause I fought at the gym he was working out at. It was his grandfather's gym.
Oh, the shit on Mount Prospect.
And
the one on Mount Prospect?
The one where? In Newark.
Yeah, Newark on Mount Prospect. Mount Pleasant, I mean. Yeah. Oh, the shit on...
So one judge gave it to me. You know what that means already. 2 judges gave it to him. So it was 2-1. It was a split division.
Nice.
And how did the match with Jerron Ennis go, if you don't mind me asking?
Jerron Ennis, he beat me nice and clean, nice and square. He beat me in the USA Nationals.
Do you want that get back?
I also beat. Yeah, in the future, of course, I would like to take that. Right now, he's at 147. I want 140 right now, so I'm gonna stay 140 in a while. He probably won't stay 140, 147 for too long because he's a big kid, I feel like he's gonna be 154 by next year, and I make 140 easy. But if it happens in the future, then doesn't matter.
So looking at the landscape, what do you see as being a big fight down the road for you? Like, which other up and coming prospect do you see is going to who can I make my name off of?
I can't tell right now because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of young good fighters, just like me, and I just can't tell you right now because to be honest, I really don't know when I will get to the world title. It could be soon. It could be very soon. It could take a minute. It doesn't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I just got to keep on winning and just keep doing what I do.
I want to know about some more of the talent that you've been in the ring with in the New York City area. You mentioned Collazo. I'm wondering about guys like Chris Colbert, maybe some of the new DAZN fighters out of the Atlas Cops and Kids. Rashad Mati, he's a welterweight.
Yes, I sparred Chris B-Hop like about 2 years ago. That was great work. But I was a lot bigger than him. He's about 130, and he's smaller than me. So, but it was great work. I beat Richardson in the amateurs.
Hold on. I like to read between lines. I felt like you emphasized that he's a lot smaller than you, only to reassure us that the sparring went in your favor.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay, just making sure. You know, we had him on the show
But
this morning, and you know how Chris talks. I mean, not that he talked about you at all. We didn't even bring you up because I didn't even make that connection. But we had him on the show earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, I mean, the kid got talent too. The kid is fast. I mean, he doesn't really have the power, but he's fast as hell, and he's very slick. He's smart. He's smart in the ring, and that's all you gotta have, to be honest. I mean, sometimes you gotta have that little pop so they can respect you. Because, to be honest, when I spar him, I just walk right through him because you don't feel nothing.
Now,
But
my question. Sorry.
I,
My question I wanted to ask is, you're in between the 135, 140 division. You know, there's other guys up there moving up in top rank. Teofimo Lopez. What's your relationship with him? Are you guys,
yeah.
you know, eyeing down possible fights in the near future? He says he wants to be champion in that same division, 135.
He said he want to be champion at what? 140, 135?
He told me personally that if he can't get a belt at 135, then he would absolutely move up to 140 for a title shot.
Hey, doesn't matter. Let him do that. We just gotta wait. We just gotta wait and see what happens in the future. You know, I mean, he's more closer than I am. He's already, because if you see the ranking on BoxRec, I'm like 80. He's around in the 50s. So he's a lot closer than I am. He needs like 2 fights, and he's there already. So he could be fighting for a world title at the end of this year. Who knows?
And my other question is, in between the Top Rank and the Mayweather, you know, promotions, you kind of did your own a little bit with like Evander Holyfield's promotions. What was that like? Kind of promoting your own event, getting all that together, and having to train for a fight. Like, you were kind of a fighter promoter.
I mean, I got a manager. If y'all guys didn't know that, and he's from Florida. He's from Miami. He's some Jewish guy, and he's the one that made that happen. He's the one that said, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather not putting you to fight, so we're gonna keep you active in our side." So what he did is he said that he's gonna put me to fight here in New York, and Evander Holyfield called, and all I have to do is sell tickets in order for me to fight, you know, and that's something that I had to grind for, and that's something that I really wanted to do because I really wanted to fight, you know.
How were you able to get out the?
I didn't get.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said what?
I was just going to ask, how were you able to get out the Mayweather Promotions deal? Was it a buyout? Was your contract up, or did something else happen? Did he release you?
No, it was because he was promised in the contract. I was promised to get 3 fights a year, and I got 2. So when that 1 year was up, I only had 2 fights, and my manager said, "We're gonna fight it. We're gonna take him to court. We're gonna speak to my lawyer," and that's what we did. But he didn't take it to court because Leonard, y'all guys know Leonard, right? Leonard, he said, "Oh, we won't have to go to court because we're gonna give y'all guys a release paper." He didn't do it till like 4 months. When my manager went to Vegas, he got the release paper, and it was around June that he got them. So that's when it happened.
Did you have to wait for those
so
actual
basically,
papers?
He only gave me about 3-4 months.
No, but I mean, did you have to wait for them to actually fight, or you was able to fight while you waited for that?
You said what?
I said, did you have to wait for the release papers before you could actually fight in New York City, or were you able to fight while waiting for those release papers?
Yeah, I was fighting. I was fighting already while waiting because I got the release paper in June, and I fought back to back here in New York. I fought in March and I fought in April
Now, again,
in Brooklyn.
I wanted to know more about the New York scene. I know you fought on some Evander Holyfield cards, and one of the Evander Holyfield welterweights that they, you know, are putting all their dollars into is Justin Briggs, I believe, or the Torch. Did you ever get any work with him? He's in the New York City area, and he's trained by Joel Judah.
Yeah, I never sparred. I never sparred Justin Briggs. Never. I never really had that like communication with him. You know, like every time we see each other, we like, you know, say what's up and chop it up. But we never had work. To be honest, I don't really work with guys here in New York because I'm always traveling. I'm always in training camp, like in California, Las Vegas, Florida. I just be going all over the place. I don't stay here in New York. I feel like I would get better work out of New York.
Agreed. Who you visiting in Florida? What camps?
I stay when I do go to Florida. I go over there to Plant City. It's like a small town, and then I go travel to like me and my trainers and my father. We go travel to Miami or Orlando, get some work out there. When I was out there recently in August, I was sparring Montana Love
at Cunningham's gym.
We were supposed to do 6 rounds. Cunningham said no. We only doing 4, so he took him out in the 4th round. But before we got in the ring, we agreed to 6 rounds.
So basically,
Cunningham goes in the 4th round. Or that's
basically you saying you put hands on him.
I had the video. Up on Instagram. I can send it to y'all guys so y'all could post it on y'all Instagram. How about that one?
That sounds good. You got my number. Text me. So now, you know, it's funny though, because Montana Love was saying that he gave the business to Javante in camp, and he was kicked out of that same Cunningham camp. Were you there at that time? Were you? Because I mean, did you see Javante again? Oh, okay.
Yeah, wow. I was probably somewhere else. Yeah, I wasn't.
So
but
you went to school in the BX?
I saw some clips. You said what?
I was asking, did you go to school in the Bronx?
Yeah, in the Bronx, yeah.
So how is it? I mean, growing up.
I've been in the.
I was gonna say, how was it growing up for you? In the Bronx, but like after signing to Mayweather and then signing the Top Rank, like these are 2 big entities. So I'm sure it's like, you know, people are looking at you like, wow, you're a superstar already.
I mean, I know a lot of people around my neighborhood, and I grew up with these people. You know, like I've been in my neighborhood for about 12 years since I was like 8 years old, and I just see the same people around. They proud of me what I'm doing. You know, every time they see me, they be like, "Oh, I see you doing this. I see you keep doing your thing. You know, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be a world champion. I promise you that." And it feels good. You know, it feels good when you get that energy, that good vibe, you know, and everybody just supporting you and want to see you do great. It's a great feeling. And growing up in the Bronx, it was not too tough because I was never in the street. I was never a street kid. When I started boxing at 9 years old, I got in boxing myself. I told my mom to take me to the gym and sign me up because I would like to do some boxing. And from there on, I just started doing my business. I started traveling, fighting everywhere, overseas, different states, and I was just taking care of business, you know. I've been traveling since I was 10 years old.
Hey, Jesus, hey, Joa, look, I've seen your fights. You have a very stylistic fight. I've seen you have fun in there, do some incredible things with some of your opponents. How would you describe your style and your fighting abilities to people who may not even heard of you before, as well as who are some of the fighters you grew up watching and may have been influenced?
To be honest, I watch a lot of fighters, and I take little things from them, and I just invent them myself. You know, like I make my own style, but it depends on the opponent who I'm fighting. If I'm fighting a brawler, I will box him a little bit, you know. go a couple rounds with him, 2-3 rounds, and from there on, if I see he don't really got nothing on his plate, I just take over and start putting the pressure. And then if I'm fighting a boxer, I walk him down and I start breaking him. And it only takes about 3-4 rounds to break you down. You see, most of my fights didn't pass the first round, and they were scheduled for 8 rounds.
Absolutely, I've seen them. I think I saw one of them. You posted up on your Instagram, like you were like, you were dancing a little bit on them. You were doing all these stylish moves.
Right, yeah.
So,
And that's because I feel like I could do anything. That's because I feel like I could do anything with them in the ring. You know, like I start off serious, and then when I start getting comfortable in the third, fourth round, I just start acting silly. But I also be serious at the same time. You know, sometimes I don't really like playing around. I just want to take you out of there. I just hunt you down. But there's times that I fool around and I get, to be honest, like when I get comfortable and everything, I feel like I could do anything with the opponent. To be honest, I start acting a little bit cocky, and I get a little bit cocky, but I gotta stop that because I start tripping and I start getting all over the places. So I would try not to do that more, more often.
How important is it for you to being on top right to get these highlights? Is that something that is very important to you, or is just getting the win the most important, or both?
It's mostly getting the win. It doesn't matter how you win, as long as you're winning. But the highlights also do count. People see that, and I feel like social media right now is everything. So when you do a highlight video and you post it on social media, everybody start following you and start reposting you and want to see already your next fight and want to come to the next fight and want to watch on TV and that's a good thing,
Josue, man, I want to thank you. Obviously, we have no more questions. We do want you to give out your social media so anybody listening could definitely go ahead and follow you. We want to thank you for taking out the time and obviously schedule you as your fight gets a little closer. Let everyone know where they could watch you and when's your next fight as well. And once again, thank you for your time, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. You could, if y'all listening right now to the radio, you could watch a couple of my fights on YouTube, Josue Vargas Boxing. You can follow me on Instagram at Real Josue Vargas with 2 S's at the end, and you can follow me on Facebook, Josue Vargas. So everything is Josue Vargas, my name. Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you, brother Josue. Pase buena. Thank you again. There you have it. Young up-and-coming, the prodigy himself, Josue Vargas. Every Wednesday, we're going to be bringing you a new up-and-coming prospect, someone in the division, in the boxing industry that hopefully you don't know and we can learn about together, because I'll be honest, like I said in the beginning of the show, I knew nothing at all about Josue. We got a couple of callers, so we're going to go ahead and get to them before we wrap things up. Everyone's Patreon, so no cutting. Oliver, talk to me. Oliver. Once Oliver's at work. Oliver's at work, and yes. Going to, what is this? Yeah, thanks for the silence, guys.
My bad, man.
I think, is it us or is it the callers?
Big Gucci. Right?
Big Gucci, what up, baby?
What up, Big Gucci?
Oh, what up? What up, bro?
What's good?
Hey,
brother?
what are we even talking about? I don't even know the subject right now.
Well, it's Prospect Wednesdays.
Oh, the Josue Vargas or Josue?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about him besides what you guys just interviewed, but said he's a 140-pounder.
Yep.
What's his record?
There's about
13 fights, 12 wins, 1 disqualification with 8 KOs. Off top of the head, baby.
All right, so he's undefeated.
Yep.
So he doesn't have like any notable wins yet.
Nah, he's still a prospect. Prospect Wednesdays.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say to him. I mean, I think he's got a whole lot of potential. I mean, good luck to him, but yeah, man.
All right.
That's my call.
Thanks for calling in, my friend, and thanks for tuning in. Oliver, same goes to you. We're going to go ahead and cut out. We got another conference call scheduled. I'll probably be doing that one and seeing if we can ask Badu Jack and Marcus Brown some questions. So, yeah, that's scheduled for 2 o'clock. We'll be here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Not really same bat time, right? The time kind of changes every time there's a new show. But, hey, same bat signal. You know, you get the same bat notification. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Nest GTO, all forms of social media. And do say.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Oh. Damn. You can find me at Ron GFIQ on Twitter. We'll do more of these every Wednesday on Patreon. And I'm passing off to Cutoff King Mike of the Century.
Don't follow me, man. Just check me out on TBV. Till the next time.